much you know about it, but basically we're going to be letting you do some parenting teams of two. And consider some issues I think really useful to practice in my short presentations. But during the semester we have a number of guest presenters lined up, and I'll talk about them in a moment. Does everybody have, a lot of things have been posted, they're all short. You all looked at Blackboard, so you see the posted. And I've got copies for you, printed copies anyway of the syllabus, or any of you may have already printed them out. Thank you. And you all know your text, which we really won't be addressing a lot in class, is Peter Field's 0-1, Notes on Startups or How to Build a Future. So one thing you'll get from me signing a book like that is that you guys need to understand more about business and your client's business than you need to know about law. In fact, I've got friends that really don't know much about law at all. They have a law degree, but the clients love them because they're devoted to their client's business. So when issues come up, they're not particularly loving law, my friend. He can't stand it. He really hates being a lawyer. But he now loves, not the legal part of his work, but he loves having these relationships with clients who are building businesses. So he's making more money than partners at Frost Brown Todd because the clients love him. He's helping them grow their business. So it's not like he's a tax on given transactions. You know, everybody, oh, I got to hire a lawyer, that's a tax. That's another expense. He's actually helping his clients make money. He doesn't have that many. He's like my former boss at my small firm. I went from big firm to a boutique firm, and the boutique firm was a lot more fun. The only good thing about being at a big firm was that I was able to, like, you know, sometimes you think if a guy's a partner at Frost Brown Todd, why? Well, he must be smarter. He must be more clever. He must be more. It's just not. So you work at one of these big firms, and you realize, no, we all pretty much get dressed the same way, male and female, and we're all close. You know, we're never that far apart. So working at a big firm demystified the big firm for me. But the small firm was fun because the first advice my senior partner gave me is, every client that walks through the door, you got to see is not a one-off. Here's your legal problem. Here's how we solve it. But you're building a relationship. So I never repeat myself on this several times, but he said, what you do with each new business client you get is tell them after you've, more or less established a relationship, tell them you want to go out to their place and hang around all day and learn everything you can about how their business works. And that can be done a couple hours here and there, it can be done 1 day or 2 days. And tell them you're not building them a nickel. That you both at least at this point in a long-term relationship. And the better you know their business, the better you can provide legal advice, both is to risk before problems develop, and it's to actual problems that may come along down the road. So I followed that. And you got to remember, for these people who are not lawyers, generally, that business for them is like their child. They're raising it. So even when you're critical, you can't be too critical, right? You can talk about your own kid, and nobody else can. It's that sort of thing. So it's like you're building a relationship. Now we talk about startups being, some are lifestyle startups. There's nothing wrong with that. I got a friend that always wanted to own a bar, like most guys that want to own a bar. Some women actually would love to own a bar too. And that's a lifestyle business. So if he asked me to invest in his bar, then I'm going to say, well, I guess we're getting free drinks from time to time, maybe an occasional some bar food, but I don't really expect any big return out of that, right? Because he's probably going, the first couple of years, every bar and restaurant business is lucky to break even. 2 or 3 years go by before they start making money, start paying off the initial load of debt they ran up while building the business. And it might generate enough to pay his salary, or her salary if it's a female entrepreneur. And it's fun. The guy's doing it for fun. For the first thing is a lawyer needs to spot, is whether somebody's developing, or as an investor, whether they're developing a lifestyle business or whether they're developing a business that they plan to scale up. We call it scalability. I mean, like, I don't know the guy very well who started Texas Roadhouse. I met the guy. I think he started with the idea that he was not simply going to develop a steakhouse where he could hang around and invite his friends for dinner and maybe make some money. I think from day one, he thought, I want to develop a franchisable operation, whether he does franchising or not. We'll talk more about the franchise business. But the whole point is, he ends up with, well, I don't know how many restaurants, over 100 maybe now, and it's a publicly held company. So he took it from 0 to 100. And he created it. And think of starting my class this morning, think of the thousands of jobs that guy has created. He's pursuing his own self-interest, he's pursuing his own dream, but in the process, that's the way capitalism can really be beautiful. He's helping thousands of families, pay their children's expenses, taking their family, taking care of their elderly, doing all the things we as families do, thanks to that guy. And when you think about people like Jeff Bezos, I mean, hundreds of thousands, maybe even millions of people's lives have been enriched and made possible because he had that idea. And he took it from 0 to 100. So I had 4 or 5 clients I was able to take from 0 to 100. In other words, I took them from the day they had the idea to the day they went public. And that was an age when more companies went public. And that slowed down in the last 10 years, even though we hear about the high profile ones like Amazon, Facebook, and Uber, and some of the others. But because now companies stay small longer, stay private longer. Why is that? We're going to explore that question. They must stay private longer because there's lots of money out there from investors and big and venture capital funds and we talk about angel funds who are willing to put money in small, scalable businesses with the idea that they will grow from small to medium to large and maybe even become a unicorn, which is the new term, right, for companies that are non-public. They're owned by the founders and maybe the initial investors, but they're not public. They don't file anything with the SEC. They don't have to file periodic reports with a federal agency like the SEC. They're off the radar. And the classic right now is Peloton. I don't think they're going public yet. They make exercise bikes, right? So Peloton is still out there. There's a number of companies still out there. Airbnb is still out there. They don't want to go public. They will. I mean, the plan now is to do that, but we don't know what the time schedule is. But they're unicorns because they're valued over $1 billion and they're not publicly held. So how does a company get a valuation over $1 billion without going to the public capital markets, going to an underwriter and say, help us raise additional money so we can grow? These companies have been growing without conducting public offerings of securities, without selling a large amount of debt or equity to the general public, using big underwriters. For the most part, they're not doing it so much anymore. They eventually come to the market. Why do they eventually come to the market? Because the investors. See, before, the company grows, small, medium, gets to be medium to large, good revenue stream, 5 years of audit financial statements, looking pretty strong. At that point, they need real cash. They need 20 million, 100 million, whatever you grow. So they call up Goldman Sachs or some other investment banker and say, we want you to handle an offer of our securities to the public. Would you put a syndicate together of investment banks, which means the Goldman Sachs case covers the whole world. They got a client list. That's what makes Goldman Sachs valuable, including the Kuwait investment fund, all these sovereign investment. Big, important list. it's hard to get them to take on your company's business because when they recommend something to the Kuwaiti investment fund, they don't want it to screw up. You know, they're not in there, they're not saying, here, risk, you can choose. They're in essence saying you should buy this, guys. So that makes them awfully picky about which of your clients they're willing to take on, if any. But once they take them on in a firm commitment underwriting, Goldman Sachs would say, we'll buy all 100 million worth of your securities, of your common stock. That's 20% of the company, fine. We'll buy all that. You know, we'll put out the 100 million. Now, you're going to have to file the document with the SEC. It's called Form S1, so you know that. And then the SEC is going to read over it and make comments, and we're going to change it. We don't care if we agree or disagree with what the SEC said. We're going to change it to please that agency. And while we're waiting for that agency to declare this thing effective, this S1, so we can start selling to the public, we're going to go out and informally offload the 100 million to our clients. So even though Goldman Sachs is saying we're going to buy the whole 100 million, by the time we get to a point where there's a closing, the company, mainly your client, and its CEO sits down with Goldman Sachs people and says, okay, here are share certificates, and it's not manual, obviously, it's book entry, let's say it's shares. Here are $100 million worth of share certificates, and depending on the dollar price per share, it's going to vary as to how many shares are being conveyed. Goldman Sachs will say, thank you very much. Here's your check for $100 million less our $7 million commission. Okay? But Goldman Sachs might not be buying any of the shares. It's giving you the check. But right after the SEC declared that Form S1 effective, Goldman Sachs is sending confirmation letters to all the people it has previously offered the securities to, including the Kuwaiti investment fund. No formal sales contracts have been entered into. They only solicited an offer from their client list. So they got an offer from Kuwait, the Kuwaiti fund. They got an offer from, let's say, Aetna. They got an offer from TIAA-CREF. They got an offer from Fidelity, you know, and so forth. Well, that's the way it used to happen, right? And the beauty of buying that public offering was, if you could get into it. I remember when UPS went public here, not long after I moved here 25 years ago. UPS went public. I begged for 100 shares. And I called my Merrill Lynch guy and said, it's a great company. They've been privately held now. They're going public. Can I get it? He got me 100 shares for $50 a share or something. And the stock continued to climb. So it was a bargain because you were getting in the middle. You weren't getting at the end. This story has a point. I'm going to bear with me. So by buying in the IPO, you were able, all the insiders of UPS now had liquid stock because now it can be bought and sold freely on exchange. Before that, it's all restricted. It was all acquired in private placements. You can't go out and just start selling privately acquired stock. In other words, UPS had sold it to the founders, right? When they founded it, they gave something for it to UPS. UPS gave them stock. But that's a private placement. When UPS sells to its own founders, that's a private placement, which doesn't require registration. It's a so-called exempt offering. And we'll talk about that more for those of you who haven't had my securities class, but you don't need one for this course. I'm going to cover some of the basics you will need as an entrepreneur lawyer. So they can't. So finally, the insiders get some liquidity. They typically don't sell their own shares. They may sell some of their own shares. They can actually sell. They can piggyback their company's own public offering. So if your company files an S1, the S1 can include a big $100 million raise for itself, but it could add on $10, $20 million worth of insider shares, which can be covered by the same document. So in many cases, you have the founders unloading some of their stock, so they can start feeling rich. You know, instead of being stuck with shares they can't sell. That used to be the route. And in the past 25 years, that has changed. That's still a route. But now there's been so much money because of sovereign wealth funds and big mutual funds and big insurance companies out there, not to mention venture capital funds, that companies that are growing like Facebook, before they went public, could raise a ton of money from all those folks I just mentioned. A ton. Toward the end, before Facebook was finally forced to go public by the SEC. There's a long story there. They were really forced to go public. Why? Because they were right on the margins of registration violations. What they would do in the end, the last one I remember reading about was every Goldman Sachs client says, you jerks, we won't invest in Facebook. It's the fastest growing business in the world. And Goldman Sachs would say, yeah, but they don't want to go public. Zuckerberg doesn't want to have to file quarterly reports with the SEC. He doesn't want his company to suddenly be in a big goldfish bowl where everybody can look through and see what he's doing. Because obviously secrecy gives you a huge competitive advantage. Surprise gives you a huge competitive advantage. He had no interest. It wasn't just the cost of going public, because if he raised let's say $1 billion in public offering, you have to give, 500 million of that, 50 million of that to an underwriter. That didn't bother him. It was the disclosure part. He didn't want to be in all the lawsuits that followed. All these class action lawyers read all those quarterly reports and compare that to what they read about the company in the Wall Street Journal and say, well, this doesn't match. Or stock drops 10 points, must be something, so they file a big class action lawsuit. He didn't want any of that. He wanted a small group of institutional investors, his family, and some other people who work for him, to own the stock. And he was raising enough money without going to capital markets. And in the end, so many people were beating up Goldman Sachs and all the other investment bankers saying, we want some of that stock. And Goldman Sachs started to put together specific purpose vehicles called SPVs. That's sort of it's the acronym for SPVs, special corporations, if you will. And he would have his clients buy shares in this little special purpose corporation. Let's call it ABC Limited. ABC Limited would then go to Goldman Sachs saying, on our behalf, would you go to Goldman Sachs, would you go to Facebook and have Facebook sell us $1 million worth of Facebook shares at the last valuation? Because each round in which Facebook raises money over a period of 5 to 10 years, it was going up, right? The company, when it first started raising private funds, was worthless. The second round, it's worth maybe, $5 a share. You price it out. Then it gets to 10, then 20. So each successive investor group is going to pay the latest valuation price, priced at the latest valuation round. Because Zuckerberg is raising money, not borrowing a lot of money. You never want to borrow a lot of money if you can avoid it, right? Because you have to repay money, you have to repay debt. Selling equity, you never have to repay it. Right? That's called risk capital. You never have to repay it. So you can't sue to get your money back on equity. You can sue to get your money back on debt. On a note, they don't pay the note, they're going to default, you can file a contract-based lawsuit. And of course, the person who borrows the money has to pay fixed rate of interest, which is a continuing expense. So Zuckerberg is largely raising money for Facebook through private equity, going to private investors. And in the end, the demand was so great that Goldman Sachs is having to form little special purpose vehicles to get more money into Facebook. Well, by that time, it's gone from a nickel share to 25. They often go public at 45, 45, somewhere in there. And this of today is 212. It's been as high as 220, 225. So why would there be that link? Why couldn't these investors just buy directly from Facebook? Why do they have to go to Goldman Sachs? Well, you might say, Goldman Sachs has access to Zuckerberg, and I don't. He'll take their phone calls. He's not going to take mine. That's one. Another reason is that Zuckerberg figures Goldman Sachs is going to screen for us. Whoever, all the weirdos that call and want to put $100 in his company, Goldman Sachs will get rid of that. I never have to do it. I'm going to do it with Goldman Sachs. There's a bigger reason. The bigger reason is that at that time, the law said that if you ever have your company shares listed on a stock exchange, you have to start filing those quarterly reports. That's one rule. Another rule is if you've ever had a public offering, period, you got to file those quarterly reports. Well, neither of those apply to Facebook. The third way is if you've got 10 million in assets and over 500 shareholders, you have to file periodic reports. So Zuckerberg was trying to keep the number of shareholders below 500, and he was in the 400s. And the reason he stayed in the 400s was because Goldman Sachs and other investment bankers would create these little SPVs that might have 100 shareholders. They were counting the SPV as one, not this 101. And the SEC was getting increasingly irate about this and about to go after not only Facebook, but Zuckerberg and his chief financial officer and everybody else for registration violations. Because he was sort of roots in the end. So he has to go. Well, in that scenario, there was still a lot of room to make money with Facebook, right? I mean, because as I said, it's gone from 45 to 225. So, but the fear now is, this is, I'm feeling like I got published 10 years ago. The fear now is the markets have evolved, is that with these unicorns, they have so many financing rounds before they get to even think about a public offering, that those investors in those initial rounds are super happy because each successive valuation is higher. But they're also super happy because they think at some point there's going to be an exit. So if I have bought, I don't know, $1 million worth of Uber shares, and it's not public yet. Let's click on Airbnb. I got I put $1 million in Airbnb. I started that when it was valued at $1 share. I've got money in when it was 5, 15, 20, 40. I know it because the rounds keep going up. There can be down rounds with companies when they hit some obstacles. It happens. It's happened with my clients where you're going up and there's a down round, which irritates the hell out of everybody that bought higher, right? Because these later people are buying lower. So you get down rounds. But usually they're mainly up rounds. They keep going up. At some point, what are you holding if you're an investor? So you have to understand you're not your client, but the investors in your client. What do you think is motivating them to buy? If they're going to be minority shareholders, what do they get for that? We talked about that business source this morning. What do they get being a minority shareholder? Nothing, right? What do they get? Say, well, that's when they get a right to vote on organic changes in the corporation's life. Amendments, articles, dissolution, articles of dissolution, amendments to the articles of the corporation, mergers, and sales of substantially all the assets. Those 4 events they get to vote. And they get to vote at the annual meeting of the board of directors. Well, if they're minority shareholders, their vote's not going to make a bit of difference. Okay? What do they get? Can they force the company to issue dividends to them? No. Generally, no. Can they force the company to give them their money back? No, absolutely not. So what value are their shares? Can they go sell the shares that they got from Facebook? Probably not, because they bought shares in a private placement. For those of you who had securities, again, you don't need to know this, but for those of you who had securities law, or even the part of corporate law where we talk about this, you know, an individual who buys shares from an issuer pursuant to a private placement, who turns around and resells them, can be deemed an underwriter. Because the registration requirements of the 33 Act say every offer has to be registered. There are exemptions for registration, like private placement exemption. But there's no private placement exemption for individuals. It only applies to issuers. So how do you resell? In other words, to summarize all this, there's a big liquidity problem. If I've got especially me, if I've got $1 million in Facebook, I probably borrowed that. So I mean, how am I going to get a return on that money? And granted, I only get 1% or less at the bank, but I can get 4 or 5% out of a big publicly held utility company. But that money's frozen. I'm not getting a nickel back. I've got $1 million in Facebook, let's say, for 10 years. What do I want? I want some return on my money. So there are only 2 ways I'm going to get return on my money. Can you think of those 2 ways?
You can go public?
I can go public. And if my average per round purchase price is 20, and Facebook goes public at 50, I'm happy as a lark. Because once the company goes public, it's raising its own 500 million or $1 billion, right? But once it goes, and I'm not selling my shares, I'm not allowed to piggyback. I'm just one of the investors. The insiders usually can piggyback, but I'm not. But what that allows me to do is to go in and sell my stock in a public market. So now there's total liquidity with my Facebook stock. Once the company registers the class of shares that I own. Now, they actually register the shares being offered, but once it's traded on an exchange, they have to register the class of shares. I need the common stock that I own, not stock I bought in public offering. I'm buying public offering. I own mine in private offering. So there are 2 registration requirements. Now, this is icky. There's 2. One, if you go public, you have to register the shares that you offer. You don't register the shares, you register the offering transaction. But once you list on a stock exchange, which obviously Zuckerberg's going to want if he does go public, because that's going to provide him with liquidity as to his shares and everyone else's, you have to register the class of shares traded on the stock exchange on a Form 10. And it's pretty much the same information you put in the S1. So whenever I do a public offering, I do like I write this disclosure document. Sounds hard and complicated, it's really not. You choose other companies, you go to other companies that file similar S1s in the same industry with the SEC, and you copy them, right? I mean, it's a little bit more complicated now because you want to make sure you do an even better job than they did. But if White and Case did the S1, and now you're doing S1 for a company in the same industry, it's hard to screw up. You have to do due diligence. We'll talk about that later. To protect the directors from liability. Because if you lie, even unintentionally, if you make material mistakes of fact in Form S1, it's strict liability. So the buyers can sue. But of course, nobody's going to sue. Nobody sues anybody for fraud. The prosecutor's going up. You know, even if there was absolute fraud at every turn, right? People want their return first. They don't want a lawsuit. So if a class becomes registered, because that class is going to be listed on exchange, which most companies do when they go public. So they sell 1 million shares of common stock. There might be 100,000 shares of common stock, even 1 million shares of common stock already out there in private hands. But once that class gets registered on the stock exchange, it's really tradable on the stock exchange. The theory being is that once you become traded on the stock exchange, you have these periodic reporting requirements. So you have to continually inform the market about the company going forward. All right, to finish my point, to finish this rather long story. So I said originally companies to get the big time money had to go public. Well, there's so much big time money with these sovereign wealth funds and big mutual funds. I mean, mutual funds have grown exponentially in the last 25, 30 years, right? I mean, just huge. Mutual funds, retirement funds have become huge. Insurance companies have grown to be huge. Sovereign wealth funds, and just big venture capital funds like BlackRock and all these other huge companies. And they're raising money for wealthy people, from wealthy people all over the world who want to invest in America's economic miracle, right? I mean, we're one of the few countries on earth, and there's been a lot of growth in Southeast Asia, but the safest, most reliable place for companies to grow is the United States. So it's a big market. We represent a relatively small percentage of the people on the planet, right? We've got 330 million people, and there's 7 billion more out there. So the money tends to come here. And as the earth is globalized, the Earth's economy is globalized, that's become even more true, because now you can send money magically in nanoseconds, anywhere in the world. You have to haul around, on a boat. It all can be electronically transferred. So all that's going on, and that has really changed the marketplace. So the fear now is that by the time an Uber becomes public, or Airbnb becomes public, or Peloton becomes public, they were unicorns, right? They are or were. Once they decide to go public, they're going to be selling at a pretty fair value, or maybe even slightly exaggerated value, because the demand is so kind of every taxi cab driver wants to buy Airbnb stock. The problem is, over 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 rounds of financing, maybe more, the company's fairly valued, or maybe it's really overvalued based on anticipated growth. But your chances of making a killing buying Airbnb might be over. In other words, most of the big money will be getting out when that public offering happens. And they're usually locked up for the insiders. You know, they can't like pump and dump their stock. They have to hang on for 3 to 6 months. The underwriters usually insist on that because they don't want all the insiders immediately dumping their stock, which means their clients will see a drop in whatever they paid from 100 to 50. So they usually impose lockup agreements in the underwriting agreements when they decide to take a company public for your client. Okay? So there's this thought, and we'll talk about it more, that increasingly most of the real potential has already been valued out. And people who are actually in the end, when you go public, it's not quite as big. It's not like you're buying, you know, on the inside of the next Facebook. You know, it's already valued. So I don't think that's completely true, but that's one of the issues out there now, is that going public, you know, a growing company that goes public is usually a good investment because it's already proven itself over with trends for 5 to 10 years. And without you seeing, look at Amazon. I mean, Amazon's the most astounding. That's why, you know, I could have pitched a book about Amazon. It's the most astounding economic success ever because Amazon lost money forever. And, you know, Jeff Bezos kept saying, well, you know, look at revenue. Revenue growth is huge, but the losses were even bigger. So it was losing money forever. And that's what, maybe the most valuable company on the planet. He's certainly the richest guy on the planet. Well, so back to where we started. So your client's going to be raising money from the proprietor, the owner, and from his or her friends and family. That's where it starts. And then down the road, you may know a few investors. The more you get involved in your community, the more people you're going to know, right? And treat every relationship you build once you leave this place as important. I mean, some guy you didn't like in law school, she calls you up and says, let's have coffee. Have coffee. You know, you can't be snooty. You cannot be like, oh, I don't have time, I'm too busy. The more human relationships you make, now you're not running for office probably. Some of you might, but you're not doing it because you plan to run for office. You're doing this for your clients. That's a different perspective for some of you. It was for me. I got told this. I didn't intuitively figure this out. The more people you make and the better relationships you build in the community, the more people obviously you know, and the more people trust you. So if you happen to meet, and the more people you meet, some of them are going to be rich, some of them are going to be poor. But at some point you got a great client, and you see that client or a group of clients putting together a business that's really going to do well, but it's a capital start. It may be that you know from several dinners or bar meetings or conferences you've been to, or even meeting someone sometimes just at a bar, that they're looking for investments. It's perfectly legitimate for you to link that individual with your client's business. It happens all the time. And we'll talk more about how that all works. And Bill Strench is going to be here with us in either next week or week after next. And he's like the private placement lawyer, one of the major private placement lawyers in Kentucky. And we both around in town about the same time. We got to know each other, and he's frequently come out and lecture classes. And so, a great guy. Everybody likes Bill. In fact, some of the other entrepreneurs will be coming here, including Brett Jones, who started WorldMeds, a big local pharmaceutical company. He started with Brett, and he started with Bill Strench. And I'm just saying that it's not that Bill Strench is just a nice guy. He knows, you know, how to prepare a private placement memo. But by going to Bill Strench knows 25 people who are multimillionaires. So, and he might say, you know what, client, if you want to host a coffee at our law firm, feel free. And I'll give you these names and addresses. I have a substantial, it's important, it's a term of art, I have a substantial pre-existing relationship with these people. So it's not like you'll be engaged in general solicitation or advertising, which would blow the private placement exemption. I have a substantial pre-existing relationship with these people. Don't get your feelings hurt, obviously, but none of them are interested. It's worth a shot. That's actually how I met Greg Chapman, who started something called Anchorage Angels, and he's going to be talking to us during the course of the semester. So Strench and I get to know each other because I was a former private placement lawyer like him. We have a lot in common. So we start having drinks and dinners from time to time. We got to be pretty good friends. Well, one day, maybe 2 or 3 years after I got here, we're having drinks or coffee, and he says, God, you want to come to this thing tomorrow afternoon? And obviously, I'm not a multimillionaire, but he says, you want to come to where I'm doing this coffee at our firm for Greg Chapman, who's starting something called Anchorage Angels 1, and he's raising a fund, and he's the former, I don't know, chief financial officer of some publicly held company. He retired. He's doing, or got acquired, He's putting together funds, and he's going to go out and find the little businesses to put the 20 grand or 50 grand or whatever in. But he's pretty smart. And so I said, what's the minimum investment? He said, well, I think it's 50 grand. So I'll come by and meet him and be there. But of course, when they say minimum investment is 50, you know, that's not in cast iron, right? If I said I'll put 10 in, they would say fine. You know, but sometimes you run away. Just know that when people are raising capital, it can be pretty flexible. They're not going to take $100. They don't want a gnat bothering them as they go forward, right? We call them mosquitoes better now. They don't want ankle biters. Right? People invest relatively little money, but they bother you every day from that moment forward because they're afraid they'll lose a little bit. So I went to the meeting, and met Chapman. I was super impressed. So it's a very informal sort of thing. It's not like, hey, this is huge investor meeting next week. It couldn't have been more subtle. And Greg Chapman fully funded his first Anchorage Angels fund through that kind of approach. Totally low-key, just a little tiny event. In that case, you know, Bill Strench actually prepared a very little, relatively thin private placement memo. So you have to do more than that. No. It basically disclosed a little bit about the company's history, some about, obviously, Greg Chapman's background, talked about disclosed things like risk, talked about, you should be able to assume the risk that you lose anything you invest, great little disclosures, and people bothered never any lawsuits. The first one didn't make much, made maybe 5%. I think the second one, Anchorage Angels 2, did better. It was never a huge success, but of course Chapman had a blast with it. Nobody lost any money. It could have gone to the skies. And I think a couple of little things that he got involved with did. But the point of this whole story is how easy it is if you build relationships to build a practice. Now people come to Strench as much for his legal work, more for I think his connections in the community than for his legal work. Even though his legal work's very good. So you have to stop seeing yourself as some sort of legal scrivener, like a car mechanic, you know, who knows everything about carburetors and these days about, you know, computer software. But that you're there as sort of a business partner of sorts with your clients. And since so few lawyers have this attitude, you can be hugely successful pursuing this. And I had such a great teacher because I had a senior partner who's one of the luckiest human beings I've ever met in my life. His name is, I guess, 80. But can I tell you a story real quick? I love telling stories. So this guy, this is a true story. Right? So I'm with a big firm. I'm married to the main partner's daughter. And I felt like at that point, well, I'm going to get credit for my failures and none for my successes, so I started looking around. They didn't have a hard nepotism rule, but I thought, no more, I was already there before I met them. In any event, I started looking around. And there were these two guys. One, a guy named Tom Ritchie, the other guy named Mike Redeker. They both were, Redeker was just grew up with silver shoes on, you know, silver spoons everything. His day was an investment bank in New York. He went to Princeton, went to Harvard. The other guy was more like me, except smarter. The older guy, this guy Tom Ritchie, he'd grown up in Birmingham, and his father owned a bunch of foundries. You know, where you create iron and steel products, and they had all the molds and all that stuff, all kinds of engine parts, aircraft, cars, whatever. And they were more or less, they ran themselves, and they were great, just cash cows. And he has a smart brother who's a year younger, 2 years younger. And at some point, he tells the smart brother, the younger brother, why don't you run all the founders, because I think I want to be a lawyer, and I want to be a business lawyer. And we'll split the money. You can have whatever's a reasonable salary. You do that. We co-own the founders. And so that's the way it went. So Tommy enrolls in the University of Alabama Law School, and he's there for 1 year. And he's got an uncle from Miami who was in Congress. And also leave him out of this. Remember, the uncle was chairman of one of the powerful committees in Congress. He goes, I guess you could do this that many years ago. He goes to Harvard and gets Tommy admitted to Harvard. So he went 1 year to Alabama. He never filled out an application. He swears to this. The uncle literally went to the Harvard admissions office and said, I'd like my nephew to go to Harvard. Then informs Tommy, and Tommy says, I don't want to go to Harvard. I'm happy in Tuscaloosa. Where are you going? So I've already done it. I put my reputation on the line for you, got to go. So Tommy ends up graduating. I joined those two guys, and it went like I've been in maybe 6 months. He called it, because the other guy's younger, because he's in his mid-70s. He calls in his office, and I told you the story before stopping, and says, I want you guys to be rich. And it's a business firm, we're going to represent small businesses, I want you guys to be rich. And we both laughed, and he said, no, I don't mean in terms of buying Maseratis and yachts and all that stuff. I don't want you to be rich and spend a lot of money. I want you to be rich only for one reason. And that is, if you care about money too much, you won't do that well for your clients. If you're already okay financially, you can choose your clients. You won't. I've only got 19 clients this time. And his income at the firm is anywhere from $300 to $400 to $1 million. And he had down years and up years. Just those, depending on the activity of his clients. All his clients were run by close friends of his. So he knew the ins and outs of their business. He knew, for example, one guy had a printing press company that he represented forever. And he hears, maybe at some club meeting or conference or whatever, meets another guy who owns a competing business. Well, not competing, but a business maybe 50 miles away. And talk to him, and he says, Tommy, I've been meaning to call you. My wife and I are getting old. My worthless son is, drunk and on drugs, has all kinds of stuff. He's not going to be taking over this company. We want to stop. So Tommy says, look, I'll give that some thought and get back to you. He calls his other friend who runs the printing business and says, you want to buy it? Y'all negotiate price. And then he says, well, you need to get your own lawyer. To the guy he just met, and the guy says, I don't want my own lawyer. So he signs a waiver of conflict. Back then you can get away with that. It's written, blah, blah. And Tommy says, I only want a fair price. That was another interesting thing I learned from the guy. I once negotiated the sale of business, and I was so hard. I was 27, 28 years old. So trying to be super tough. Got just every nickel out of the guy on the other side, so I got a great price for my client, and I came back and told Tommy, he says, I'm disappointed in you. I said, wait a minute, I just got my client double or 40% higher than what he wanted for the business. I'm disappointed. I said, why? Because that's not wise. You want that guy to walk out of there, the seller of the business, to walk out of there relatively happy with the outcome. Because the buyer and the seller need a future relationship. You shouldn't set it on fire in the negotiations to buy the business. That was so obvious. And my client was willing to pay tax. I'm the one that whittled it down and tried to save him money. So again, if you're trying to build a long-term relationship and not beat the opposition out of the last nickel I got. Because the guy that we were negotiating with, I knew needed to sell. So I'm like pushing the price on down below what my client was willing to pay. He's saying it's stupid. So in the end, the client had to go and negotiate with the guy again about keeping him as a consultant to smooth over what I had done in saving him money on the deal. I don't know if all that makes sense, but it's just an orientation. And picking your own clients is really important, right? Because if you're hard, you got to pay a mortgage, and you've got a baby on the way, and you think, God, I need this client, you have to stop yourself and say, wait a minute, is this the kind of client I want to have a long-range relationship with? And if you're doing PI work, it's completely different, right? Because then you do have one-off clients. You sue for wrongful death, you sue for drowning in a nursing home, and so forth. But in a business practice, you got to view them all as long-term. Do I trust this person? Because a bad client can ruin your practice. A dishonest client can ruin your practice. I both refused to accept clients, even before I had any money, because something smelled, something seemed wrong to me, and I couldn't quite put my finger on it, but I thought, I'm not doing it. In 2 other cases, I actually had clients I was doing private placement memos for their companies to raise money. And I fired them, because during the due diligence, I saw they weren't as honest, they didn't have the kind of character I thought they ought to have. In one case, I was doing a public offering for a bank while doing this private placement for this guy. And I discovered he was one of the, he was a delinquent debtor at the bank. Now, I couldn't reveal to him how I learned of this, because everything I was picking up at the bank was confidential. But at one point, I just asked, you have any unpaid debt? You keep me debts current. Why do you want to know? Well, because you're going to be managing this business, and I'm out, putting people I know into this, and you've got other people who are going to invest in this, and I've got to disclose. That's material. Your background, your track record is material, since you're going to be running this show. Oh, yeah, I've got something in such and such a bank, but I'm not paying them. I said, why aren't you paying them? Well, because they're not going to sue me. I know that it's not worth their while to sue me over that amount. I'm just going to let it go. Worst comes to worst, I'll bankrupt them. You don't want a client like that. So I called my former firm, and I couldn't disclose anything, but I called a guy I used to work with. Well, I'm having to fire this client. There's some issues. Will you take the client out? And they sent me like a gift basket next week. I'm like, wow. I mean, I almost told him, but I couldn't tell him. But nevertheless, people find representation anyway. But I didn't want that guy as a client. So it's like, it can come back on me. And I know all this advice is obviously inapplicable to a criminal defense practice, but it's very applicable to a business practice. So we're going to be talking about lots of things like this. So it's not just going to be, I will give you 1 or 2 strong lectures on the private placement process, so that you'll feel relatively comfortable about doing it. It's really easy. I mean, I did my first private placement just like Bill Strinch. When you start doing 1, and you do a second one, and you do a third. By the time I'd done 5 or 6, I pretty much knew how to do it, right? I mean, hopefully I knew it the first time, right? But most things don't go wrong. We start thinking as lawyers that we see so many tragic sets of circumstances in law school. Just remember, the cases we read are 1/10 of 1% of exploded transactions, of exploded relationships. It's not normal. What we study in law school is not normal. We're studying the things that broke, right? So even though I probably committed legal malpractice 20 or 30 times, it never messed anybody up enough for them to sue me, right? And you get more careful. The better, it's the same thing. It's the better you get, the more careful you become. When you weren't so good, you tried to be more careful, but you didn't know how to be more careful. So I ended up protecting myself more as I got better when I really didn't need as much protection. Is the point. So early on, you are careful. You try to rely on the expertise of people who've done it before. You try to go to conferences. I know the Business Law Section Kentucky Bar has a conference every year, or every 2 years. Go to those because you meet other business lawyers and you exchange ideas. You doing any private placements these days? Nah, I did one last month, but then another time. Oh yeah, I've done 10. You're like, wonder how that's going. In other words, what kind of, and you ask about what kind of things are going on. You learn a lot from other lawyers who are in the same field. Okay, so back to the syllabus. Thiel's book. I'll probably on the exam ask you to give a 1-paragraph like review, like an Amazon book review, or a TripAdvisor review of the book, just to tell me what impressed you about the book. So it's sort of a gimme question, but you can't like miss it. You can't like start talking about some other book. You got to give me something. I'm also going to ask you to evaluate our presenters in terms of what you thought, not whether they were good or bad. They're all good. Which one was the most helpful? What you got from each of the presenters. And then there'll be maybe 2 or 3 questions based on your presentations, and there might be 1 question based on my limited amount of lecturing. I will have some substantive things to say during the course of the semester, so there'll be 1 question like that. Very short take home. I don't think I've ever had less than a day. So it's just, you're listening, it's a fun class. So, and the highlights to me are these guys coming in. So what am I telling these guys coming in? First guy is Bill Strange. So he's coming in on January. Next week I'll talk about private placements. On January 21st we have Bill Strange coming in from Cross Time. And another thing I do during the year, and I'm getting better about doing this as I get older, there's something called the Void Awards every year for entrepreneurs. And what these people, and Breck will tell you about it, because Breck's company, WorldMeds, was the first year they did it. And Breck applied for it, and back then, 20 years ago, they were only giving one award. And Breck's company, WorldMeds, won the award. And then his main science guy disappeared on him. And he tried to give the money back. I'll let him tell you that story. Now, ratchet forward 20 years, and now they give out anywhere from 3 to 10. And they have a number of people who apply for the award every year. And it usually gets written up in business first, so during the year, I'll read up on who got the award. And every now and then, at least probably every year, but certainly every two, I'll call up I just cold call 2 or 3 of these people who got the awards. Hey, you want to meet and have coffee? So I'll meet them and talk to them about their idea, how they're developing the company, how they're going, what issues they're facing. And the last time I did with one guy was, he said, well, we're not at a point where I don't think sharing anything, but at some point I get to, well, would you like to share this with our class? And I got, roughly 20 students who are all interested in business. You don't need to come in with a prepared talk, just come and tell them what you hate about lawyers. If you want to do that, that's good, that's helpful. Or if you don't want to do that, just tell your story. Talk about how you put this company together, and what you view as an exit strategy. How to initial investment ultimately get out. They do that, I was getting this, they do it through a public offering by simply selling your company to a bigger fish. That's the two main exit strategies. The public offering or selling to a bigger company. Sometimes selling to a smaller company, that's happened too. So that's the sale of the company to a bigger company, or simply going public. Those 2 routes are the most common exits. So I go talk to these people. So one of the guys, is a guy who won last year before last, is a guy named Harut Vardian. He is the CEO and co-founder with his mother of a company called Hexalayer. Okay? Do y'all have the schedule on your platform? Okay, so Hexalayer is a company that's, and I've worried about this since I was maybe 16, 17 years old. I grew up in Alabama in a small town, and the only fun thing I did growing up was fish. Right? So I had this John boat, and it was on my grandfather's farm, and it was a mile from my house. I biked out there, and there was a battery in a shed. Right? But the boat was always it was hard to get the battery. It was super heavy. Imagine 12, 13, 14 years old trying to carry a 12-volt battery to the boat. And my friends and I would often sink into the sludge with the battery because we'd miss or we'd slip or whatever. It was really much. And I always thought, why didn't somebody like shrink that battery down to a tiny size with the same power? Presumably, technology, this has been a big deal for a long time for a lot of people, and especially who's a big deal. It's a huge issue for Elon Musk and Tesla. It's a big issue for all electric-driven, battery-operated vehicles, right? And charging stations and all that whole industry is dependent on developing a better battery. Because right now, according to this guy, so I met this guy twice for coffee. Once I brought an entrepreneur with me to talk with this guy, and he's saying, Tesla's like taking a bunch of AA batteries and just putting packet after packet of them next to each other. I mean, still pretty primitive, the battery technology. So his mother's a scientist, so he's working with his mother to develop. He's got a lot of people who are starting to take interest in the work this team is doing. And I'll let him tell you the story. But he's young, he's full of energy, and I think you'll enjoy hearing from him. Then we're going to have, all right, so there was Papa John Schneider, right? So this is Chuck Schneider, who is Papa John's brother. And they're both smart guys, regardless of what you think about John Schneider. They're both smart guys. Schneider develops one of the largest pizza companies on the planet out of, literally out of a garage, out of a bar in Indiana. And the brother Chuck is a bit more studious, although I'm not saying one's smarter than the other, both super smart. Chuck goes to here to law school and finishes and goes with, I think, Greenbaum. And he's there for a few years, does a lot of corporate work, was loving it, a lot of business work. And at some point after his brother, his brother wanted to take the company public, it was getting bigger and bigger and bigger. So he left Greenbaum to become general counsel for what was then a relatively small company. He was there for a while before it actually went public. So he represented businesses at Greenbaum, then he represented the startup, and then eventually became general counsel for a publicly held company. And at some point he says, I'll take a few franchises. I'll take 5 or 6, 10, 20, I don't know how many franchises Papa John ended up with. He said, I want to do something else. I've been in this pressure cooker for 10, 12, 15 years. I'm done. So he buys, I could get this wrong, I'll let him tell you, but he buys like Skyline Chili, I think he owns that, and he buys Tiny Brothers. And there's one other chain he's got investments in. Needless to say, he's not impoverished. But he brings a bunch of perspectives, and he's one of my favorites for the class because he's been both a general corporate lawyer with a big firm, he's been a startup lawyer, he's been a lawyer taking the company public, and now he is a small businessman himself. With Honey Brothers anyway, these others are a bit larger. So it's a great story. And he, I thought maybe he was doing it, he was coming to our class for maybe 2 or 3 years before this, the stadium issue developed. And I said, well, I know you might not want to come, and I'll still come. I still love the law school, so don't let that bother you. So I think he's a real treat. Then Breck is coming, Tom Cottingham is coming, and I think he and Breck are the two who have done it since the beginning. So I met Tom Cottingham because he was the first guy to do online magazines, digital magazines. And he did it through a company called Czech Republic. And I'm not sure you may have heard of in town, probably one better known guy is a guy named Doug Cobb. Doug Cobb and Tom Cottingham put together a business called Czech Republic, later sold it. It ended up being owned by CNET, and it just switched one of the big online news platforms. So that was a big success for Tom. He's done a couple of businesses since then. So he reminds me of the old wildcatters of the 50s and 60s I read about, who were always like billionaires or they were broke. It's like they're really good at starting business. And Tom will be the first to tell you, I don't like managing business, I like creating. And he does it, and his success, he'll tell you, key to his success is putting a team together of stars and using them every time. So he'll put a group of people together, the same people, they'll start one business. And they have to stay on because they have to stay on with the acquiring company for a year or two, but eventually somehow he's able to reassemble them again and do something else. So I think, and he's got war stories about lawyers. He doesn't really like lawyers very much, but he's a fun guy to have, so he'll be fun. All right, so then we have Greg Chapman, I've already talked about. And the last guy, anybody heard of Sean O'Leary? Okay, so Sean is become one of my favorite people, and he gives of his time. He goes out and talks about entrepreneurial endeavors with middle schoolers and high schoolers all over the county. Super generous, trustworthy, great guy. And he started a company called Genscape. I don't know what he sold it for, 40, 50 million. He started from scratch, and then, this must have given him some pain. I haven't talked about it, but it recently resold for 480 million. So he missed that, but still, I wouldn't complain if I sold a $40 million company. But he is incredibly engaging. And so his latest venture is something called Edge Analytics. And you may have seen this, I know a couple of years ago, and I mess up in sports stats a lot, but a couple years ago, Philadelphia Eagles was playing in the Super Bowl. And I didn't know this, so I watched the game, and I was pulling for the Eagles. And the coach was calling, I played high school football, the coach is calling the most weird, screwed up plays I've ever seen. I don't know if you guys watched it. I mean, like, it's 4th and 6, and the guy throws a pass. Halftime is 1.6 seconds away, and he throws a pass. I'm like, why in the world would that guy throw a pass in that situation? So, the New York Times, the Daily Games, I read a few days later, had a whole article on Sean O'Leary and Edge Analytics selling the data to the Philadelphia Eagles coach on every player on both teams, and what set of plays would not necessarily gain a first down, but would change the ultimate outcome of the game. Now, I don't understand those algorithms, but he has data crunchers that would say, if you call these plays throughout with these people on the field, ultimately that will affect the outcome of the game. It's a jigsaw puzzle, so to speak. And so he got a nice write-up in the New York Times. Well, that comes now, he's extending that to, on a smaller scale to high school coaches all across the country. There's a lot going on. And that's another thing where if you invest with somebody like Sean O'Leary, you're investing in the person. You know what I mean? Because as every presenter will tell you, we talk about business plans and business scope, right? And you got to have a business plan. Certainly, everybody starting a new business should have a business plan. That's something you're going to tell your client. Well, put together a business plan, not because you should have put together a business plan. Where is it? You're stupid. No, you do it the other way. It's like, put together a business plan so I can better understand your business. Not really. I know you described it well. If you got a plan already, if you don't, you put one together because that'll help me understand better. It's not critical. Right? It's constructive. But no business plan lasts very long because circumstances force the entrepreneur to shift in all kinds of unforeseen ways. There's a lot of just sheer magical fortune out there, depending on who you meet, what's going on, what the employees turn out to do well, which ones don't. You keep shifting, the product's not accepted, and you have to modify the product, or in some cases change the product completely, or to change the service completely. And that's why I love somebody like O'Leary. He's going to shift. He's not locked in. If this part of the business doesn't work, he's doing a football product, he's also doing a healthcare product. He can go into Norton's and tell them, why they got high employee turnover based on the data he's reviewed. He can talk about outcomes of healthcare facilities. There are all kinds of ways he can spread his data analytics business. And it's growing slowly but surely. But again, you're betting on the person because you know the business plan's going to continue to shift. And I always, if I'm going to invest, I like investing in somebody who's done it before. It gives me a lot of comfort. They've got 3 failures, it's hard to invest in the 4th one, right? But so I think he's going to be, he's been here now, I guess this will be his 3rd or 4th time, so he's great. So talking about business source class, I don't like taking a roll. When I was in law school, nobody took it because that's to show up when I show up, but there's a requirement here, so here's the roll sheet. If you do miss, I know some of you have circumstances that require you to miss, just get a copy of the presentation's summary. So every team, when they put together come up with their idea, and I'm going to have some suggestions, I think it's in the syllabus, suggestions for topics. Once you choose a topic, and then you'll get a date, right, for the rest of your presentation, starting probably February 4th. If anybody wants to go early and get it out of the way. Presentations are pass fail. So I don't want anybody nervous up here. I know I get nervous when I'm doing something new. We all do. But just, come up here and have a conversation with class about whatever you're presenting. I'm not sitting there thinking, well, 9 is 5 for that. It's pass fail. Nobody fails. So it's like, I'm failed to show up. Otherwise, nobody's going to. So just take it easy, have a conversation with that. And I'm telling all these presenters, don't prepare anything. And I'm sure they'll think about what they're going to say anyway. You're not being expected to deliver some sort of incredible lecture of inspiration. Interestingly, the only person that ever did that in this class, same class, I forget the year, but it's been at least 10 years ago. A guy came in here, and he literally gave a prepared, it was intended to be like this super inspirational speech, which like your Boy Scoutmaster would give you. And he went on for 1 hour, solid hour. He was a good speaker. Everybody was like rap. They weren't anything about entrepreneurial tension or anything about business. It's about virtue. But he went on for an hour. And I'm like, well, that's not really what I expected. That's what I got. And guess who that guy was? Our governor who just left, Matt Bevin. So he came here, same class, 18 people, literally 10 years ago, and gave that remarkable, unforgettable speech on virtue. I think he had a good time. I appreciated doing it. But everybody else is kind of just talk. Just what do you guys want to know? Or I hated my lawyer for the following 12 reasons. Or here's how I put a team together. Because Matt actually was a good entrepreneur. He put together a pretty significant mutual fund, which he sold. The reason he ended up here from Matt was he sold his mutual fund to First National Bank. And so they brought him down here. And I met him through Kentucky Red Cross. We were both on their board, both volunteers. All right, so you read the student learning outcomes. Participation. I say attendance is required. Make presentations on a topic to be assigned during the first 2 weeks of class. All the topics are designed to be practical issues you'll actually use when you're practicing law. There's nothing esoteric about these topics. All you have to distribute the class as well. You should use PowerPoint or its equivalent. You can do that in this classroom. Just distribute a copy of your slides. But when you're making those copies, I need a copy, the class needs a copy. And if you can't afford to make copies yourself, I have an assistant upstairs, Kim Sanders, who will help you with that. But in any event, make the copies. It can be 3 pages long, whatever the number's long. But don't do, as some people do, and some of you are not going to hear this, but don't make your slides so tiny that nobody can read it. Because I want the slides to actually show your bullet points in a readable way so that students can ask you questions during your presentation and then look at them again when they're actually taking the exam. So you take the exam, you can look at anything you want, you just can't communicate with anybody else about it. It's just you. But you can take notes, obviously you can take any handouts, you can take these copies of presentations. But it's not, you don't do a written presentation, just do PowerPoint slides. If you want to do a written presentation, you can, but I don't think anyone ever has. It's fine with me, but basically you're just going to have your slides to talk from. We're going to develop a schedule. So 2 things we have to do, right? 3 things. You have to choose your partner, you have to choose a topic, you have to choose a date. And that's what we need to sort of confirm. Sorry, we have to confirm that next time. So, any of you plan to use this for a writing requirement? Okay, so you can use this, and you can use it, so there'll be a team, right? Maybe your partner on your team is not doing it for the writing requirement. The writing requirement does not have to be on the subject of your paper. It can be anything you want to write it. But you certainly, seems to me, efficient to make it the subject of your paper because you got somebody help you do all the research. And then you get to write the paper, and that's not considered plagiarism. All right, so you got that guy's consent, and you're going to present a paper which you've done, you reviewed it all, you studied it, you made your own corrections, you've actually taken the research and put it into whatever the requirements are for graduation. And that's your paper. So that's no problem at all. And what I focus on the paper is really structure. I'm not going to go through and nitpick it, like as if I were some article editor. I'm just simply going to make sure the structure is in a readable format, mainly because you're going to be preparing papers, memos, frequently for your client, explaining here's the process you should go through. Things you need to be careful about. Maybe you do, maybe you don't. I didn't know most clients with some frequency. And so you need an introduction, an analysis, and a conclusion, right? But the introduction really is supposed to be a roadmap. It's supposed to tell, if you've got a boss or you've got a client who's only going to read the first paragraph, You want to make sure all the news is there, right? So you're going to tell me what you're going to do. Here's why my topic is so much fun. Here are the issues I'll address, and here's what I will conclude, or some version of that. There's your roadmap. That writes the whole paper. And I've never written 50 large articles. Talking to a former partner of the sort of partners I was transitioning out of practice and teaching. Talked to the other, I can't believe you've written all these large articles. How boring. And I said, well, you know, they sort of write themselves. You write 5 or 6 of them, they get easier to do, and you don't have any fear. And you start writing. But what has helped me the most is simply writing, do all my research, then put all that stuff in the drawer, and then simply write what I like, just without anything around me, write a 2-paragraph or 2-page thing about what I'd like to do. I'm not even doing that. Just write it. Here's why my topic's important. Here's some issues I want to talk about. And I think I'll conclude the following, make that part up. But I've got an introduction. And that writes the rest of the paper. So then I've got enough focus. And then the conclusion is supposed to be a restatement of that introduction. You paraphrase it, write it again. And that's an especially good method not only to help you write it, but when you give it to somebody whose blessings you need going forward, if they're super thorough, they'll read the whole thing. If they're not, they're super busy, they're going to read the introduction or conclusion. And you've covered both. So that way, avoid your paper being some sort of linear thing that builds up to something at some point that looks more like an encyclopedic entry. A partner in your firm's going to throw that in the trash. It's not going to help you. But well, so I want you to learn about structure more than I do about, you know, whether you footnote perfectly or not. So, let's see what else. What about questions? Anybody have any questions about any of this? Let me quickly go through this list of topics. And again, it doesn't have to be on this list. The hard part for you is choosing another partner. Probably maybe choose whoever sits next to you. But you can do it alone if you want to. And I think we got 18, which will give 9 presentations. There's some days we don't have guest presenters, and those days we can do 2 presentations. So private placements. And here, again, I don't want these presentations to be academic. I want them to be like, all right, you're going to be explaining this to your sister who happens to be a lawyer in another firm, or you're explaining this to your brother who happens to be a lawyer in another firm, or you're explaining it to a client. I don't know whether you guys use continuing legal education materials, but those are perfectly legit for your presentations. You know, like practicing law institutes still around putting on CLE programs, and you usually access, I think we got copies of their publication in the library, they're probably online. The American Law Institute, the ABA, Ali Abba puts on continuing legal education things from time to time. I've written what I think is a fairly practical article called The Regulatory Vortex, which is the most academic title imaginable, but it actually talks about how everybody now uses 2 exemptions from registration when they want to offer securities to just a group of friends, a group of known people. Because again, you can't offer to unknown people and call it a private placement. You have to, your client or your client's lawyer has to have a substantial relationship with the person before you offer. And typically, you're only going to offer the offering to accredited investors, which means millionaires are people who make more than $200 grand a year. Those are the 2 main categories of accredited investors. And the SEC presently has proposed some amendments to that. But generally speaking, somebody's making $200 grand a year or who has $1 million. That means also be a firm. You know, my family's got lots of millionaires. Friends down in South Alabama don't have 2 nickels. But technically, they're accredited investors because their firms are worth a lot. If you can't count your primary residence and coming up with $1 million net worth. That was an add-on a few years back. So you got to exclude your net equity now from the calculations. So 506, so it comes down to 482. So what's 482 real quickly? What am I supposed to stop? 6. All right, I'm going to let you out right there. You don't think not. So private placement is, right now you go online and you want to form a new corporation called, I will think of something, the Allen Wrench Company. And you're going to start that company. You can form that in less than 5 minutes. Well, if your credit card information is already in there, because it's going to cost you $40. You can form a corporation, an LLC, corporation special, in 5 minutes. You put the name and address of the business, the name of the incorporator, who will be a secretary in your office, or paralegal, name, address, the number of shares authorized to be issued. And that's pretty much it. I mean, that's a slight way of saying it. The 3 or 4 minor things. The most important is the name of the business and the number of authorized shares. And then a couple of addresses and the name of the incorporator. That's what the model business corporation Act requires, what Kentucky statute requires. And you can do that in just literally seconds, if not minutes, if not seconds, online. So it's very easy to do. I'm not recommending that in most cases because minority shareholders might want some additional protection in the language of the articles. Like you can't amend it to dilute my shares. There are lots of things they might want. They might want preemptive rights. There are certain things you can add to the articles that are very helpful and are typically in all entrepreneurial transactions negotiated. So if I was helping you put together a company tomorrow and we got with Sean O'Leary and Sean O'Leary says, I'll put $100 grand in, but we're going to have few amendments to these articles to protect my interests. You know, if you decide to take my $500 grand and I'll give you, and I take a third of the company, I don't want you liquidating tomorrow, right? And split my $500 grand 3 ways. That'd be pretty bad. So dissolution requires unanimous consent of the shareholders. There's just different things you can do. And if you decide to issue additional shares, I want preemptive rights because I don't want you diluting me. I want to be able to stay in this game. So there are lots of ways to protect the investors, and investors have it. You represent some investors. I did. It's really fun because having come from the other side, I know where they need protection, and it's never it's not like some sort of human conflict situation. The investor says, I trust you completely, but I need these provisions in the document. You might sell to your sister, you might die, your estate might sell stuff to somebody else. I don't know. This is just objective provision. I'm sure you would have done this anyway, but I want it in the articles. And before you part with your $1 million, you get anything you want in those articles. That guy needs your money. He's willing to agree to reasonable protections. Okay, so 4A2. When you go online and you form that company, Allen Wrench Company, you're giving the state information about this corporation to be formed. And once you pay the $40, like magic, you have a corporation. You have a new legal person that can soon be sued like that. It took you 5 minutes. Then after that, you can apply for an employer identification number and all the other things you do. But at that point on, you have a limited liability unity. But at the first meeting of the joint, I used to do a joint meeting with incorporators, directors, and shareholders. That first meeting, what happens? The directors vote to approve the offer of the shares. 2, it's weird. If you and I started this company, Allen Wrench Company, the directors were about to be elected by the shareholders, but there are no shareholders, so the incorporators are going to appoint those initial directors, and my paralegal better do it, or we'll find another paralegal. Right? So the incorporator appoints us as the initial directors. We then have this joint meeting, and at the meeting of the board, we're not elected, we're just serving. We are going to approve the issuance of shares to ourselves from the company, which is a new legal entity, and for a safe consideration. All going to be approved in a board resolution. At which point we're shareholders, and then we vote to elect ourselves as directors. Happens all the time. It's a weird little scenario. That's what happens every day, literally hundreds, if not thousands of times. What I want you to focus on, how did the company sell those securities without violating Section 5 of the Securities Act of 1933, which says all offers of securities shall be registered unless exempt, and whoever claims the exemption has the burden of proving its applicability. Pretty much what the 33 Act says. So what exemption do we have? We didn't file anything under Regulation D. We don't even know what Rule 506 is. And think of the millions of lawyers who do this every year. They don't know. They maybe never had securities law claims. They don't even know what just happened. But for you to know, what happened was private placement. Because it's a non-public offering. A big Supreme Court case, SEC versus Ralston Perina, said that a private placement does not mean to a given number of people. It means, that the Securities Act were intended to protect people who needed protection. And if you're selling to insiders who have all the access they need to information, in fact, they know as much information as the company could give them in a Form S1 registration statement because they created their baby. They know more about their baby than anybody else. So therefore, since you and I obviously know everything about our business, we don't need a Form S1 to inform us anything. So in our case, it's very much a private placement. Now, if part of the deal we included the old lady down the street or the old guy down the street because he or she is wealthy, that presents some different issues. But if just the founders are buying, which is typical in an initial formation transaction, it's a private placement covered by Section 4, parenthesis Rule A, parenthesis 2 of the 1933 Act. And you don't have to worry about a thing. You don't have to worry about whether you were credited or not. None of that stuff. It's good. 4A2 is always good. Future offerings, you're going to try, if you can, to use both 4A2 and Rule 506. They're not mutually exclusive. If you screw up the Rule 506 offering, which we're going to talk about next week, then you're okay because you have 4A2 back in you. Okay, so that's the first one. So 506C, which is number 2 on that list of suggested topics. I mean, that could be a discussion of why we should use it more or why we shouldn't use it at all. And all this is pretty much covered by my regulatory vortex article, which I'm going to go through with you next week. Those are going to be my teaching notes. But 506C says you can publicly advertise. Totally contrary to 4A2 and 506, where no general solicitation happens. So here you can publicly advertise, i.e. your client does not need a pre-existing substantial relationship with the person. You can literally go through the phone book or go by zip codes. Some people prey on rich neighborhoods that have a certain zip code. You do that. Some people prey, believe it or not, on neighborhoods that are known to have a lot of elderly people because elderly people tend to be more gullible. My mother grew up from the most profound skeptic on earth when I was growing up. She didn't believe a word I said. And at 80, you could sell her aluminum siding, and she lived in Alaska. Some people get more trust, and some people get love. But the elderly are really, they get victimized by scams a lot. Their whole program that state securities agencies designed to protect the elderly. And AARP's done a lot of work in this area. But 506 says you can advertise on the sides of buses. The only tricky part is you can only sell to accredited investors. So you can only sell to billionaires or people that make $200,000 more a year. But I'm generalizing, that's generally but you can only sell to, there are a couple of problems with it. The people who are accredited you have to verify that they're accredited. Under 506B, you can sell to accredited investors or unaccredited, or non-accredited. But the accredited people can simply self-certify. Yeah, I'm worth a million. Yeah, I'm making $200,000 a year. And Bill Strange or you or any other lawyer can accept that certification from the investors. 506C, you have to go further than that. You have to do some sort of independent inquiry. Maybe you have to get the information directly from the investor's accountants or stockbrokers and so forth, see copies of tax returns. So it has to be some independent verification. Well, the jury's out on whether that was going to work or not, because most of the guys I worked with over the years represent small business. Most of the investors wouldn't have given me their tax, they would have died and given me their tax return. And they're more opposed to it than Trump. Trump is so reverse disclosure. And not putting him down. The fact of the matter is, income tax returns are pretty personal. And granted, some politicians share them pretty freely, and others don't. But the point is, that's very personal information. And in my Vortex article, I talk about, well, maybe that's a flag of how bad the deal is. Whereas if you're so desperate that you need to publicly advertise your offering on the side of buses, that's not the kind of deal that got done in Bill Strange's office. And if you publicly advertise, you start selling to strangers. In my article talks about this. If you start selling to strangers, you can get some psychos. You can get some really weird people investing in your client's company, and that's not good news especially for you as the lawyer. Because as soon as the psycho bothers your client's going to start bothering you. Why'd you let that guy into this deal? No, you did. No, you did. Well, it becomes a nightmare. And plus, they'll end up suing your client, suing you for malpractice, saying, well, really, it's the lawyer that got me into this. So why would this psycho do that? Because you probably have a malpractice carrier, and he knows it. So it's just, I don't like, in a public offering, it's a little bit different. In private placements, you really want investors that you know. You don't want to sell to accredited strangers. But so you do a criticism of 506C, or what praise for it. I think Tom Rutledge and other lawyers have some that used it a couple of times. He gave the example, well, what if there's a magazine? I'm not a horse guy. I grew up riding horses. I don't know the industry that well here in Kentucky. It's a very developed industry, obviously. But there's some magazines, Equine Magazine. There's some things out there where only really experienced horse people read them. And Rutledge, a couple of years ago, maybe 5 years ago, when I was coming, I said, well, I may use it for that. If I've got an equine offering, say a syndicate involving a horse, it's going to be raced, and I want to raise money to fund that for a client, then I might put an ad in one of these magazines, these industry-driven magazines, to help raise money for the particular deal. I thought, well, that sort of makes sense. I still wouldn't do it. Yeah, if you do that, why don't you try? Let me know how it turns out. So he sees limits. A lot of lawyers see some limited utility for 506C. Crowdfunding. There's a crowdfunding regulation out there now. There's regulation crowdfunding. Regulation CF. But it requires you to file stuff with the SEC. It requires a registered platform online to deal with the issuers and the trades and their district liability for misrepresentations. And again, when you go to crowdfunding, you really are selling to strangers. There are limited amounts you can invest. There are limited amounts you can raise every year under the crowdfunding regulation. I wouldn't recommend it to any of my clients if I was so fast. But it's a fun area, and obviously it's been highly successful in the non-securities area, right? In raising money for charities. Resales of restricted securities, how do you help your client unload stock acquired in private placements? How do you give your client investors liquidity? And when you do that, that's some of the work you when I was in a big firm, the client's just loaned. Yeah, I can help you get rid of that stock. I know how to do it under Rule 144, and there's some other ways to do it. Angel investments, what's that about? There are a fair number of people who do like Ray Chapman, put money, limited amounts of money in new businesses. And obviously, you can, that's called really seed capital, right? It's the seed from which the tree grows. You can make your risk is sort of limited, right? I mean, imagine it's 15 years from now, and some of you, maybe all of you, some of you have, maybe savings of $500,000 to $600,000, $700,000. Maybe you've gotten some deals. Maybe you've inherited some money. And if an expert was able to tell you, look, here are 10 businesses, they're all being run by educated people who've done it before, who've been successful in other deals, they're all trustworthy, let's assume all that's accurate. What if you could put 20 grand in each of 7 or 8 different companies? In other words, if 1 or 2 of them fail, it's not going to kill you to lose all of it, right? If you're worth 500, 600, you lose 100, it's not going to hurt 150, it's not going to kill you. But you diversify your risk, and you've invested in people who are really bright and have succeeded before. The odds are a third of them will fail, a third of them will break even, and a third will triple, quadruple, or quintuple your money. So you end up ahead, and in the rare case, you'll get 10 to 20 times your money. Especially if it's the kind of business where the entrepreneur behind them really isn't doing this for lifestyle. He's doing it because he wants to do like Sean O'Leary and take 10 grand and turn it into 40 million. You know, those are the kind of deals, obviously. Those are unusual in how successful that one was, but I've seen a number here in Louisville that have been just as successful in the time I've been. Like I said, I've seen probably 25, 30 deals where they've really gone well. I've seen some real flops like High Speed Access and Vencore. But angel and what's the difference between angel investments and venture capital investments? The major venture capital firm around here was the one formed by David Jones Jr. called Chrysalis, and I think it's sort of easing out of that space now, so I'm not sure. But venture capitalists, you know, a little bit, they're the professionals. You know, they're not goofing around. I mean, they can raise huge amounts of capital, and they want a big part of it, and they usually want to roll in management. And sometimes that's really good, because a lot of the clients that I had, it's just rare to find a guy that's great with numbers, who's great with ideas, who's great with implementation. I mean, it's a rare mix to find those qualities in a person. Like I said earlier, without disparaging Tom Cotton, he's the first one to say, I'm really good with ideas, I'm creative. And I'm decent with numbers, but I'm not good at managing. You know, I don't want to be the actual guy that implements. He'll do some of it, but he doesn't want to do it very long, he gets bored. So a lot of people just aren't good at it, but they think they are. So the venture capitalists, if you convince a venture capitalist to be interested in you, and that's part of your work. You know, you do as much toward attracting a venture capitalist as the client does. You're going to be maybe you're better at it than your client. So you want to get to know people if Chrysalis were still around, people at Chrysalis, you want to get to know people at the banks. You want to get to know people at Hear Lines, owned by Bayer now, right? So you want to develop those relationships. So the next one is valuation of businesses. Each one of you has to understand valuation. You don't need to do it, you just need to understand it. Why do I say that? Because when I first started practicing law, if I had been hired by, you know, one of these nursing homes, residences for the elderly, I was actually hired by an owner of 2 or 3 residences for the elderly. And there's 2 guys, and they ended up having hugely successful business. But I was helping with bond work, helping raise money for the sale of tax-exempt bonds. But when I first started, on the first home they acquired, they were just starting out, and both, that's nothing, don't ever judge books by the cover when it comes to people, right? Because if you met these guys right now, if they're still alive, they were the 2 biggest rednecks I've ever met in my life. Of course, I grew up where all my friends, including me, were rednecks, right? So, but they were just rough. You would think both of them were done this, you know, post when you first met them. But of course, we don't judge books by covers. And I didn't judge them. They had an accountant in Alabama back then. The accountant did not need a college degree to take the CPA exam. This guy, their accountant, had taken it and passed on the first try, which my uncle took him 6 tries, I think. So smart, 3 really smart guys. And after being with them for just, you know, a few hours, it's really clear these guys were, and one of them had been bankrupt before. So that sort of was a red flag for me. I thought, I really want to be around a guy. Again, I'm very young. I'm thinking bankrupt. Well, you always dig a little bit deeper, right? Context is flavor. It's layered. Turns out he never told me this. He admitted he was bankrupt. Somebody else told me he was bankrupt, so I asked my yellow ones. But yeah, didn't say the word. At least 3 or 4 months later, I heard from somebody else that lives in Huntsville, Alabama, where this guy used to live. You know what the guy did? He said, no. Within 3 years, he went back and paid off all the discharged indebtedness. What does that tell you about human being? All that debt was discharged. He got a fresh start. His bankruptcy laws designed for that. He goes back and pays them all back. That shows me tremendous character. And the guy had tremendous character. I bring this, all right, so the reason I bring the story is when I went to negotiate the acquisition of that first residency, the seller shows up with a very beautiful valuation. I mean, it looked like it could have been done by Goldman Sachs. It was really blue paper and gold embroidery and the whole thing. It looked really sharp. And I went through it, not being an accountant, but I got to the valuation. They used several approaches, and in the end, they said, this is the range of value that the business is worth. You know, I don't know whether it's $1 million to $1.6 million, whatever it said. And it was prepared by a reputable accounting firm. Well, I started thinking, okay, well, that's what probably we're going to have to pay. I mean, I thought valuation, very naively, was more of a science than an art. And all it is an educated guess, right? So I take that to my partner, and I say, is this good? I mean, my client thinks this is a little bit high. And Tommy laughs, well, it probably is high. Who prepared it? I said, well, the accountants for the seller. Well, you might think, man, they have a slight bias, right? I mean, they've been hired by the seller to evaluate their business for the purpose of sale to third party. So chances are it's on the high side. Moreover, valuation is based on so many factors that, you know, that you could hire the best valuation group, best consultants in the country, and they're going to come up with a completely different valuation, depending on their methodology and depending on who's buttering their bread. It's going to come up with, it's going to end up in negotiation. So really, the only way you're going to get a fair one would be if both sides would say, you know what, we're going to pick an accounting firm at random in New York or Atlanta or Chicago and let them come down here, it'll cost us 50 grand, and do an objective evaluation. Even then, that'll be guesswork, but you'll take the bias out. But it's really educated guesswork, so just remember that. It's not, oh, this is it, this is what these guys said, they're the experts. Do not genuflect to accountants who prepare valuations, okay? But be familiar with the process. So this is a really, to me, interesting topic because you can value a little farm, you can value a lemonade stand. And there's some case law out there, it's sort of a fun topic. And you don't think you have to be an accountant to understand it. You will understand the basic principles. You might never be asked, I was never asked, if a client asked me to evaluate the business, I said, well, you got an accountant, let's get him in here and we'll get him on it. I'm not going to do it. It'd be too expensive and it'd be incompetently done. So it's taking hours to reinvent the wheel. So get somebody in, but your job though is to understand the process a little bit and understand the numbers enough to be able to read through one. So it's important for you to understand the basic valuation principles. Exit strategies, we talked about 2 big ones today, at least briefly. You know, going public or the company gets acquired by somebody else. And how do the companies get acquired? It could be through the companies, all the shareholders of the target company. So let's say our client's the target company. Shareholders of the target company all agree to sell their shares to another company. Let's call it New company. So Newco's there. Newco made an offer. Newco could be, you know, General Electric. It could be Young Brands. But Newco would have formed a new company probably to do the acquisition, to create a subsidiary, to acquire us. And we could transfer our business to them, simply us as shareholders entering into a shareholders share acquisition agreement between us and NewCo to buy our shareholders' shares, 100%. That would make us what, a subsidiary of NewCo. Everybody with me? That's one exit strategy. The other would be is NewCo could simply say, well, we'd like to merge with you guys. So what happens? Our company's board of directors meets, accepts the merger proposal, develops it into a merger plan, submits it to our shareholders for their approval, and then we file the articles of merger with the Secretary of State. Really simple, some merger, really simple. It seems complex, but no. That's another one. What's another one? Third one. We could simply sell, cause our company, same process, board of directors approves a resolution pursuant to an asset purchase agreement. Before we talk about a share purchase agreement, and before we talk about a merger agreement. Now we're going to talk about an asset purchase agreement. We agree, based on NewCo's offer, to sell our assets to NewCo for $10 million cash. We really want their stock. That could be a mix of cash and stock. And we, our shareholders, our director initiates, proposes, our shareholders approve a resolution for the sale of substantially all our assets to NewCo. It's a bit more complex, right? Because an asset purchase agreement, you've got to prepare documents of title for all those assets. They can be cars, airplanes, bicycles, computers, you know, all kinds of stuff. They're real simple, but you have to prepare the documents to transfer. With a stock purchase agreement, it's super easy. It's one deal. Once you sell your shares, you just endorse them back off and they own them. They don't do any transfer of title to anything because they're buying the whole company as a legal entity. When you do an asset purchase, they're really just buying assets. And then you have to separately title it. Yeah.
Is that, which one did Mr. O'Leary do, or whoever sold?
I don't remember. I bet he did it. I bet the easiest way would do a share purchase. It wasn't a stock purchase agreement. And so all of you know, the American Bar Association's section on business law, a number of years back, came up with model asset purchase agreements and model stock purchase agreements, explaining all the terms. They didn't have that. So when I was back in law, I had to go to Rapkin and Johnson and other major forms books to look at provisions. But the ABA, business law sections, prepared these model stock purchase and model asset purchase agreements. But just remember, they're prepared from the buyer's point of view, as I recall. But it tells you, the explanations for the form explain all. It's sort of, you're actually in a deal they're fun to use. Because you'll be, and always volunteer to draft the agreement, right? If your clients have been negotiating, or you've been negotiating on your client's behalf to buy or sell a business, and at the end of the day, everybody's tired, everyone wants to go have a drink or dinner or whatever, and everybody's just exhausted. And someone says, who's going to write all this up? Your hand better go out, right? Not because you're going to go home and change the deal, but because there are a lot of things that get discussed. They're pretty standard from your point of view. That ought to be there to protect your client's interest. So it's a lot easier to put it in the first place than just to take it out later. It's a matter of negotiation. So really, the drafter should be you. If you want to really protect your client, you're not putting anything fast. I think you've got to be completely ethical. So you're going to put together a document that's really competent. And you get sort of an advantage of your client by writing yourself. So it's never time to be lazy. Even though everybody's equally tired at the end of the day. Corporate distributions, fun. How do you get capital back to your investors? Can you give them corporate products and services? Can you give them cash? I mean, how do you set all that up? And what are the limits? If you remember business orders, there are some limits. You can't make distributions. If to do so would render the company bankrupt either by virtue of an equity definition or a bankruptcy definition. Equity definition is the business has to be able to pay the bills as they fall due. The bankruptcy act definition is assets less than liabilities. Right? And directors who violate that can be personally liable. And you got to think about the word distribution, right? You got to think of it broadly. Because anytime a company distributes things of value to a shareholder or all shareholders, that's a distribution. So the company give me a Jeep. Doesn't have to be a dividend check. The company give me a Jeep as a shareholder. Say, thank you very much, they give me a vacation home. That's a distribution. Okay. When they're buying my stock back from me, that's a distribution. When they're declaring dividends, that's a distribution. Okay, asset share purchase agreements, you do either or both of those. In fact, I can have two teams, one dealing with asset and one dealing with stock purchase. Business mergers in Kentucky. If you hate the whole idea of understanding what a merger is, then that's the topic you should choose. Right? Because that way you plow through your fear and you learn something really important. Probably if it's working on a blank page, you learn a lot better than if you think you already know and you're okay. You'll soar more when you take on an issue you don't know much about. Buy-sell agreements, they're really fun. I mean, that's a lot of CLE materials that you'll look at. I mean, I talked about them some in my corporate textbook, but there are a number of ways, right? So the two of us started our business together. What if at one point we decide we want to do something else? But one of the ones I really like is the Russian roulette, where basically I say, look, I'll buy your shares for X dollar a share. But the deal is that if he says no, he can put it right back to me and I have to accept. So there's no way I'm going to lowball him, because I'm going to have to sell to him at that low price if he rejects my offer. So it tends to produce a fair price. And then how you fund it. If one of the two doesn't have any money, then it's hard to deal with. So it assumes some wealth on both our parts. Corporate dissolution, how do you get rid of companies? As I said this morning, if anybody about the business organization class and this class, or was that a prerequisite? Even I talked to him this morning about corporate dissolution. A lot of dissolutions occur. You have to file articles of dissolution, right? When you decide to dissolve a company. What happens when you dissolve a company? You liquidate, just like in a bankruptcy. You liquidate the assets, which means convert them into cash, and you pay your bills, and you distribute what's left over to shareholders. All right, so that's why shareholders, you have residual interest. You have the equity of the business. So how does that? And a lot of times you think, well, the company dissolved because they weren't making any money. I represent at least 15, 20 clients dissolved because they were making zillions, right? And what would be that case of that? And the last one I did was two guys who developed a shopping center in Atlanta. They developed it. I mean, they literally went in, they bought the land, they graded the land, they put in the pipes, they put in the electricity, they framed it, and they created some water fountains in the middle, and they did all this stuff, and then they rented it all out using real estate agencies. And they sold it to a big mall developer out of Seattle for like, 25, 30 million bucks. Or for $20, $30 million profit, as I recall. It's a big deal. And then they had all this money coming in the company, so let's just dissolve it and divide the money up. There was no opposition to that, and that's what they did. Things like that happen a lot. A lot of people have, we're going to do this for 5 years, and we're going to dissolve. Like there's a couple of guys here that have investment funds. They'll take your money, they hope to pay you 6% a year, in the 5 years they can give you all your money back. And hopefully it's grown. They put it in warehouses, motels, and so forth. In that 5 years, you get 20 bucks. So they're going to dissolve it after 5 years. It's a planned dissolution. Okay. So fiduciary responsibilities in family-owned corporations. Fiduciary duties to creditors of insolvent business entities. And I love the last one, remedies under the Kentucky Uniform Securities Act. There are lots of topics, obviously. Even if you just look through the text, other writings you've read, other things you may have been law clerking in some firm, and you think, oh, that's really a good practical issue. The more practical it is, the more I like it. I mean, but then there's this relatively academic issue. It's pretty practical and fiduciary together too. So I've taken the position, Rutledge profoundly disagrees with me. And we stopped at 6 last night, I guess that promise is broken. All right, so be thinking about this topic. So one idea I really hope deals with fiduciary. So let's assume the two of us, we get to be like brothers, like putting our business together. And say we're actually Sean O'Leary and Jimmy Smith, and we're putting this business together. And we, our partners are friends, we're friends, we have dinner, we have drinks, we play touch football together. We totally rely on each other. I mean, because we're telling each other not only things about our business, we're telling probably things about our personal life. So we really get intertwined as friends. And we have what we call a fiduciary relationship arising by operation of law. And Kentucky law, Steele, Bass, and a number of other cases make it real clear that when two or more people mutually repose trust and confidence in each other, revealing confidential information and giving each some power over the assets we jointly hold. Certainly as partners we'd be fiduciaries. So let's say we start out because all partners are fiduciaries of each other. So we develop this really strong fiduciary relationship. And we're non-lawyers, let's say. At some point we walk into Tom Rutledge's office or Bill Strange's office and say, well, we're doing this business, but we've heard something about limited liability being attractive, and we obviously don't want, we've now got 100 employees, we don't want what any one of them does to make us individually together sell our houses and throw our kids out on the street. We want something, and the best advice would be buy insurance. That'd be one way of doing this. But you could have some big slip and fall where they're going against us personally, well, even though we had nothing to do with it. So Strange tells us, well, you can form a corporation, or you can form a limited liability company, or you can form a limited partnership. And that way, in the future, the entity, you'll have limited liability in the sense that whatever you invested, you could lose. In other words, the legal entity is going to be responsible for all the torts and all the debts unless you separately guarantee them or unless you committed the tort and they won't help you. But you're going to have this business. But what happens in the business is going to pay for it. Now, think about that. So what we've done is since we're no longer partners, we're now shareholders of this newly created entity. So we transferred all our assets in our partnership in exchange for the shares of this new corporation. And the new corporation now has the assets, and we have the shares representing the equity ownership of the business. But you and I keep right on running it. We keep right on trusting each other. In fact, that's the key to the whole business success. If Bill Strange said, well, here's the problem you guys have. Once you form it, your fiduciary duties are over. You don't owe each other jack. That's not the deal. We'd rather be partners if that's the case. I mean, we trust each other. We understand there's some legal protection for fiduciaries. We want to be able to trust each other freely. So is the fact of formation of a new corporate entity, does that somehow transform our common law, real fiduciary relationship? And my position is, no. If we've got a fiduciary relationship independent of the entity itself and its formation, then we continue to be fiduciaries. Just like even after we form this business, we're going to be creating fiduciary relationships with perhaps with our partners and perhaps with other people we know along the way. That's not going to change because our personal relationship continues to be the same regardless of what our lawyer does in transforming the legal form of the entity from a partnership to a limited liability company to a corporation. Because it arose by operation of common law. Now, perhaps if the lawyer sat us down and said, you guys seem to be pretty tight, we need to cut that today. Then we could probably enter into some sort of evidentiary document to say we're no longer fiduciaries of each other. But if nothing changed other than something getting filed in the courthouse, real life, the crucible of life says we're still fiduciaries. In fact, we're going to go on trusting each other regardless of whatever form of business Rutledge puts us in. Because we're not lawyers, we're people. So that's the issue that raises. And I know you've got something like two-thirds of the states, highest courts, who at least touched the issue. I think it's something like 30 states, so 3/5, have agreed that minority shareholders owe fiduciary duties to each other. Right? That's Donahue versus Rod Electric. Kentucky hadn't gotten around to it. Kentucky Supreme Court came close once, but hadn't really put its imprimatur on Donahue versus Rod Electric. One of the key business source cases out of Massachusetts. But what I'm saying is different, right? Even if our state ruled that minority shareholders owe fiduciary duties to each other, maybe that would solve our problem. But I'm talking about a different problem. I don't think maybe as a matter of policy that if it's 25 or fewer shareholders and most of the shareholders are somehow involved in the business, meet the definition of closely held contained in Donahue versus Rod Electric. I don't think, what about it stays small and everybody stays involved? We're talking about grandchildren who don't even know each other in the shareholder. Seems to lose its force at some point. Whereas in our case, our relationship is not because we're shareholders or minority shareholders. Our relationship is built on trust and confidence that originated independently of the form of ownership that we have. So anyway, so it's an issue that fascinates me, and I've got a draft out there, at least I'm dealing with on that. But any aspect of fiduciary duty would be a fun subject. So next time, I am clear, I got 1 minute, 2 minutes, 3 minutes. Next time, we'll meet next week, same time. Choose a partner, choose a topic, and be thinking about when in this spectrum based on the schedule you have that you'd like to present. If you want to let me know in the meantime,
Is this healthcare and law?
not yet.
Okay, sorry about that.
So in the meantime, if you want to email me your team and topic, you can do that. We can wait and do it next Wednesday. Anyway, thank you guys. See you next week.